Welcome everyone to just another day at the office. At least it is for us, the Beattys. And today, the 18th of December, we're working on a donation fly box for the sow bug roundup that we'll end up sending to Patty Lucan. I'm saying hello to the folks. Do you want to look around the corner and say hi to them as well? Yep, she's already hard at work. I'll show you in just a minute. But first, I want to go to the materials area to show you the box that we're working on. And well, yeah, I got stuff all over the place, but here's what we're working on. In fact, we already have the dry fly side of the box completed. And it's mostly dry flies in there. There might be a nymph or two just to fill in a spot, but they're mostly dry flies. And we'll fill the other side with some nymphs. So we'll just set that aside for the moment. And I wanted to show you some of the materials that I'll be working with today. I'm working with the yarn, and I want to take a good close look. You see how this is just regular old 4-strand yarn. You buy it at Walmart. It's a Red Heart brand. It's nothing fancy. And those are 3 strands because I have some individual strands. I want to get all the twists and curves out of it. Well, the way to do that is with a hair dryer. Let me go get my hair dryer out, and I'll just show you how that works. Okay, I hold this up in the air, and I have a hackle pliers on both ends. I'll turn this on. And what we end up with is a nice straight piece of yarn.
While you're doing that, maybe we could straighten some of this Antron.
Okay, let's do that.
Antron has been on a card.
Oh yeah.
On this, it's this Lure Flash Antron body wool. And since they put it on a card, it has wowzers in it.
So I'll just take care of those. I'm going to take this piece of yarn that I just straightened out. There's no more kinks in it. Okay. I'll just set that down because I'm going to tie with it here in a minute. But I'll take these same 2 clips and take care of those.
Well, you're going to take the same 2 clips, okay?
Yeah, I'll just take. I'll take this short one, the white one. I'll put a couple of clips on because you need the weight of the clips. I mean, you could probably straighten it out without the weight of the clips, but
makes it easier, doesn't it?
Makes it a lot easier. Yeah. Reach over here and get my other.
Oh, I was going to do 2 of them at once. You know, they use 2 of them at once.
You got to have weights on both hands, and those are different lengths.
Oh, okay.
See how that goes.
Perfect. Look at that. That's great.
Okay, that straightened that out. Took all the kinks out of that.
Yeah.
Okay, let me get the kinks out of this one. Get the clip on the other end here. And I'll turn on the dryer. And there's another nice straight one for you, Gretchen.
All right.
You can work on that. Get my clips back. All right, I'll put away this hair dryer.
Look at that.
Yeah, that's a nice straight piece now. All right, let's get over to the.
So as you might guess, I'm using. I'll just do mine real fast while you're straightening up over there.
Let me get
I'm just using this Zelon Antron body wool, white and brown, and then I'm using, of course, peacock and brown hackle, just regular hackle. Let's put it over Al's shirt. Whoops, where's Al's shirt?
Right in front of my bald head. That'll show.
There we go.
Don't laugh, folks. Your day is coming. Your day is coming.
Let's see, and I'm using 2XL size 12 hooks right now.
Put the bead on them, huh?
And I've already put a bead on all of them just to make it easier to do.
Well, let me get, you can show that now. Let me go to the double shot. Now there you're on screen. And
Oh, I should take this sweater off, huh?
that sweater probably is not going to work. Here, give me your microphone. And you get that off. And doesn't make a very good background.
It was cold this morning and I had a errand to do in the greenhouse. And I really had to have that sweater on to be in the greenhouse because it was only 40 degrees in there this morning. Well, 41.
All right, there's your mic is back on. You can show the stuff in front of your camera. And I am going to go to the materials camera over here just to show some of the stuff that I'm going to be working. I'm working on a new nymph that we've been developing, and it seems to be coming together pretty good for us. We call it the KX emerger, and we just kind of run the K and the X together, and we call it the KX emerger. And I'm using scud hooks, just in case you're interested, and some centipede rubber legs, and of course the tail is going to be that yarn that I straightened out just a minute ago. It'll be brown. I've also got some red here that we'll use for another tail, and the wing and head thorax area is going to be this. And I forgot to get one other item. I need some peacocks. Let me go grab one.
I got a whole bunch right over here.
Huh? Oh no, I've got some over here.
Okay.
That's too nice of stuff. This is going to be for an emerger. These look pretty rugged.
Okay.
All right, there's one right there. You just put that here.
I'm pinching the barb on all of these.
Okay. I'm ready to go to this. And that is my focus fly. And then let me just verify that I've got focus. And it needs, I bumped the camera just a bit ago and it's not in focus anymore. So let's get, there we go, that's better. And get a little bit further away.
That's my sweater, yes.
That looks pretty good. That looks
that's
pretty
my
good.
sweater.
All right, so I'm going to get on my glasses. You might wonder why in the devil is it taking me so long to get ready. Well, you don't just sit down and tie when you turn on Zoom and start doing stuff live on Facebook and all that stuff. All the studio has to be turned on and running, microphones, cameras, etc. And then you can get to the tying part. So now I'm going to start tying flies. I'll set my focus fly out of the way, and we'll just take a scud hook, set it in the vise. You can see I've already got some hooks selected. And I need some kind of thread. Let's see, I think I'll use some black. And it'll be black 6/0, which is 70 denier. And I'll just go ahead and put some thread right here at the front. We'll worry about that later. Right now, I just want to get that half hitch right there at the front. And one of the things that I need to do is to shape the end of the tail. Well, I'm going to do that before I get hair on the hook, just so I don't accidentally set it on fire. Because I'm going to have to use a cigarette lighter. And I'm just going to give my end of that yarn a bit of a twist. And I'm going to melt it with my cigarette lighter.
Sweater, isn't it? Yeah, that smells pretty good, huh? Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm going to put it up here on the chair because I really
don't want it to be too fancy, but there we go. That looks pretty good. And I've just shaped that so it's taken care of on the end. And I want that to be the tail to stick out about as long as the hook shank, give or take a little bit. So let me just kind of bind that tail into place. And I want to end up with the thread hanging at about the throat of the barb. And you can see there just what we've got. I'll set that aside for a minute. Looks like I can get another tail or two out of that. Sure straightens that hair, that curly strands of yarn out, doesn't it? Anyway, let me get back forward here. And I want to be right here at the hook eye because the next thing to go on is the thorax, wing, head, combination of all kinds of stuff. And that's going to be out of deer hair. And now we're both on screen, Gretchen.
Oh,
and I think they can figure out what I'm going to do with deer hair, and you can pick up the pace there for a bit while I clean
okay.
the
Well,
deer hair.
what I'm tying are what we call guides prints, and it's a variation of the Prince nymph. And it's what Al actually used when he was guiding in the past, when we were living in Bozeman. So what I've done so far is I have I pinched the barb, put the hook in the vise, and I wrapped the hackle going from the front to the back, and then I wrapped forward with the thread to kind of strengthen that a bit. Now what I'm doing is I've got this needle on. This is a piece that wasn't straightened that I was working on, and it is kind of gnarly. So I'm trying to straighten it out here a bit and get it ready to go. Okay. And I'm using I started out with I was using half of a strand, and I found that was just a little short. So now I'm going about 3/4. So I've got,
A half was not enough bulk, huh?
no, a half was not enough bulk. So
Okay,
I've got
got
the
it.
3/4.
Sure.
So I'm going to put the wing on now. And I want the wing to go just back about to the end of the body. And I'll take a couple wraps over that. Trim it. Let's see, that looks like about the right amount. These are pretty sparse wings, but that's what Al tells me they're supposed to be. I have a tendency to make the wing material a little too bulky. I guess just because I like it. Now I'm going to tie on just a regular old brown hackle. I kind of like to stick the butt end of the feather back into the bead. And then I tie it down. And we'll just take a couple of wraps here.
And while Gretchen was making those wraps, what I did is I slipped over and I got some peacock. And I've got about 4 strands. This is a pretty rugged peacock, but it'll work fine for this because I don't want this to be too full and nice of a looking fly. Now, okay, Gretch, you can.
Well, I just wrapped over the end and took several wraps. Now I'll do my whip finish.
Well, I'm going to take a couple of wraps in front of my thread, bring my wraps back, and now I'm going to grab the material and the thread and hold it as I continue wrapping towards the back of the hook. What that does is that attaches the material to the hook while anchoring that material in place with twists of thread. And when I reach the back here, I will stop there, remove the thread from the material, anchor the material, and now I'll rib back forward right through that same material I just wrapped to make a bulletproof body out of peacock. If you want, you can add some wire and make a wire rib if you want. I really prefer these without. All it's going to do is provide some segmentation after the fly gets wet. It's not going to show too much right now. Now I'm going to bend this over and make a head, wing case, and stuck in the shuck emerger wing all at the same time.
I want to show them just briefly here how I'm doing the tail. I want the tail to be the width of the gap. So once you tie your material on, just take it down, and then you've got just a measurement. turn it off and you're
Yeah,
good.
you've got the hook right there in front of you. She's
Yep.
using it as a measuring tool.
Okay, it's all yours.
You go right ahead. Okay, I'm going to slip back over to the materials real quick, and I'm going to grab my package of Montana fly centipede legs. And this is a really fine rubber leg material, which I'll show you close up here in front of the tying camera.
Just briefly, I'm tying my peacock in by the butt ends.
And what I'm going to do with this one now is cut the two even right there. And I'm just going to tie them in place right here on the side of the hook, nearest the vise. Then I'm going to reach to the back and cut off the waist, right where I want that to be. Now I've got two legs on there, and I'm just going to use the thread tension to hold one in place, pull the others there, and you'll notice now that we've got a really nice Madam X kind of of legs. I'm going to trim these a little bit shorter in front, and that looks good to me. And that fly is now complete. I'm just going to get my whip finish tool out here and throw a couple of turn whip finish in there just to all right. Trim the thread. Make sure my legs are sitting the way I want them. And that's looking good. And I'll just kind of get some glue out here, and I'll put a little bit of glue in there. I want that wing to be kind of fluffed up, but it's not a dry fly wing by any stretch. It's a stuck in the shucky merger. A little bit of glue right there. A little bit of push forward on the wing. And as that glue dries, it'll set that wing up at a little bit of an angle. And that's the Kix emerger. And I'm just going to grab a hackle pliers. And the hackle pliers, sounds like we got a phone call coming in, and Beth's going to check that.
Robocaller, woohoo!
Oh, robocall, we just love those. Yes, nobody ever gets those except us, I'm sure. No, I'm joking. Anyway, I'll get myself a clip out, and I'll put the clip on the hook as I take it from the vise, and I'll just set it aside for that glue to dry for a little bit. I could have used UV and had it dry instantly, but I didn't. And I'll just set that aside, grab another hook, and now we'll pick up the pace a little bit. You kind of see what we're doing. Ready?
I'm putting a few more of these than actually will put in the box. I don't like to do anything less than about a dozen of any one thing, because once you get set up, get your materials, kind of get in the groove, you're better off to just go ahead and we'll probably put 3 or 4 of those, or maybe just a couple, because we want some smaller ones in the box too. But I'm going to tie a full dozen, and we have a little place over here where we stick flies. So we always have a little bit of a supply ahead. I always have some Royal Wolves and some Parachute Adams and Lime Trudes, and just, a few of the things that some nymphs. I always try to get Al to tie some humpies to put in there, because his humpies.
We put some in just a few minutes ago, so there is some humpies in there. And I'm just going to go ahead and wait a minute, I'm going to tie on my material for the head and wing first, and then I'll come back to it, because there's something I didn't do on the last fly that I really like to do. I'm going to slip back over here and get some hair and get a bundle of hair and trim it away from the hide. And on my way back to the vise, I'm going to clean out the underfur and waist stuff. And just just rapidly running my finger up and down through the base ends so that I knock out the fuzz and the short fibers, and we've got it pretty well cleaned up now. I'll put that in my stacker. And get her stacked up. That's that. Now I got lucky on the last fly that I didn't have a problem, that I'm going to show you how to fix that problem here in just a minute.
Fix the problem you didn't have?
Yeah, because most of the time I do have.
Okay.
Okay, so I want to get this head and legs and wing and everything all tied on the vise or on the hook.
I had to straighten this or get some of the kinks or the knots out of this brown that we just took the kinks out of. So that took a little while, but now I've got a fairly nice long piece here to deal with.
Something that often happens is as you wrap them, and that's not very good. I don't like that hair. Okay, this hair right here. Let me zoom in a little bit closer for you. This hair right here has a tendency to get caught under the turns of thread, and it doesn't get always get covered up like it should by the body material. Well, let's take a look at this finger here and the thumbnail, and I'm going to set them in just very slightly in front of that break point between the fuzzed up hair and the thread wraps. And I'm going to allow my fingertips to guide that thread into the waste fibers, and I usually manage to capture about 80% that way. I'll always miss one or two, but one or two is a lot better than 60%. All right, now the other thing that I wanted to show you is I'm back a short distance from the front part of this wing head combination. It don't make any difference what kind of wing you're putting on. You want to do this on a hair wing. What I'm going to do right now is I pull from this pull point, a nice horizontal pull in front and under that bundle of hair and then back to that pull point. That horizontal pull, if you will, takes this wing and gets it up on top of the hook so that none of the hair is coming down and around. Well, let's see, coming down and around like, I guess I can't get it to work out here. Coming down and around and cross it under like that. There we go. Now it'll stay up on top because we have the strand of hair coming around and holding it in place. Now I'll go ahead and tie on my tail material. Wrapping down into the bend until I line up with the throat of the barb of the hook. Trim off that waist. And I'm just going to come back forward to the back of that place where I tied in the hair. Now I'm going to reach over here to the side off camera and just grab I got a really beat up peacock stalk here. And as you can see, the fibers just go everywhere. It's just, they're a mess. And let me see if I can salvage about 3 of those out of this mess.
Yeah,
For
the
this
reason
fly.
why it gets that way is because those are harvested after the bird had shed them. And we get them from a friend, and her brother picks them up after the bird has shed rather than trying to pull them out of the bird. So that's the reason sometimes they've been
They
stepped
get
on.
pretty beat up. And in their range, pre-range birds, and they have a tendency to, well, their feathers aren't real nice as compared to cage raised birds raised in a cage. Now I've just anchored that right there. I mean, a couple of turns in front of my thread. Now I'll bring this along and hold the thread and the peacock together as I wrap towards the back of the hook. It really makes a strong piece of, I guess, almost a peacock chenille. Then I anchor off there, and then I rib back forward through it. So that's a bulletproof body. They're as bulletproof as you're ever going to get get the peacock to be. Now I'm going to pull this head wing over. All right, good there. And I need to get the rubber leg material out of the package. I've been just using some that slipped out of it's kind of hanging out of the package from the last time I used it. And now I'll just take a couple of these towards the end. And trim this end so that it's about even. Tie it in place. Couple of turns of snug but not real tight. Trim my legs off right back there. Set the extra down out of my way. And now I'm just going to grab the top one of those two and slip it over to the other side to make my Madam X type of a leg. And I'm going to go ahead and wrap my whip finish. And what's going to happen is I come in here with my whip finish tool, it's going to be a son of a gun to work around those rubber legs. Let me show you another trick that you can do. You won't be able to see it, but my bobbin is going to be hanging straight down. So I'm just going to get it up here, and now it's hanging straight down. I'll grab those legs out of my way and just kind of work that into place now. And see how the head sort of holds that thread in place as I make several turns. And I don't even need to grab that bobbin. I need to have that other hand up here making sure the legs aren't tangled. The weight of the bobbin will just pull that thread up for me. Now I'm going to go ahead and give it a little tug anyway. Put my whip finish tool away. And I'm going to need to put a little bit of UV on that. Or not UV, but a little bit of just the plain head cement. And while that head cement is drying and soaking in, I'm going to push that wing forward so it'll be slightly tilted up in kind of a configuration of a crippled insect in the water. Now I've already got this one's the last one that I did, and it should be already dry, so I'll just set it aside. And I'll pull this one out of the vise and put it in the clip. Set it aside to dry. And now it's time to go to the next one. You're still tying the prints over there, Gretchen?
Yeah, I've got 5 of them done.
Okay. Well, I'm just going to get my thread on the hook here. And I don't think there's any reason for us to continue showing you time after time after time after time how to tie this new needle.
Well, I did want to talk about something if you don't mind.
You go right ahead. I'll just
Would you
go ahead and
mind
do what
putting me on screen?
Oh, you want to be full screen?
I don't care.
Well,
I'll share screen with you. It doesn't matter.
no, you need to come over here then, or
just whatever. It's not that big a deal.
you want to be
Yeah, that's
like
fine.
that?
That's fine.
Okay, there you go.
As you notice, when I wrap the peacock, I'm wrapping it in the normal fashion that we wrap as a right-handed tire, which is clockwise, till I get clear to the back, and I've left my thread hanging back there, and I'm going to tie it off. Now, I'm going to wrap the thread back through it, and you might wonder why I'm not counter wrapping. And the reason is when I wrap this way going back and that way going forward, it actually is a counter wrap. So even though it looks like I'm not counter wrapping this thread, I am. And that was just the only point I wanted to make, Al.
Yeah, it's the same thing with mine. That's why I'm tying the body on from front to back, so that when I come forward with the rib, I'm actually counter wrapping the rib, if you will, of thread because of the direction of travel on the hook.
That's all.
All right, well, I'm already got one going here, so I'll just go ahead and finish. I'm going to try not to burn the last one here with try not to burn this last one, burn the wings off while so I'm going to hold this back a ways, and yeah, it's going to be out of focus, but you can kind of get an idea. At least the wings won't go poof. All right. Turn this around to make my tail.
This wing isn't looking quite like I want it to, so I'm gonna get my little mustache brush out here and brush it a little bit. There, that's better.
All righty, and I'll just get some peacock. Well, I've got a bunch left. It's a bunch of short stuff. I'll see if I can get a body out of it, or maybe I'll have to just throw it away after I try to make a body and it don't work. We'll find out here in just a minute. Got, well, it's all helter-skelter, and we'll just tie it in place and see what happens. All right, grab the strand, start wrapping to the back. Just about ran out, but I managed to hang on to them just long enough to get to the back of the hook, tie them off, and now I'm counter ribbing forward, even though I'm wrapping in the same direction. My direction of travel on the hook makes it a counter wrapped rib. Good point, Gretchen. I'm glad you pointed that out. All right, now we need to get some rubber leg material here. So tie those on the hook. Some gentle but not real tight wraps. Pull the legs to the other side. Get ready to do a whip finish. Pull the legs back and do a couple of turn whip finish. Grab the hook with the tool. Pull everything tight. All right, a little bit of glue. Pull that wing up. Make sure I got some glue into the base of the wing too. And that glue will dry and make that setup stay sitting up straight. And I guess we'll just call this the end of a day at the Beattys at work. We'll just close this out. Thanks for joining us, and let us know what you'd like to see on these days at work. We're going to have a few days as winter unfolds for us. So let us know in the comments or send us an email. Thanks so much for joining us.